And here is the Writer's Almanac for Friday. It's the 27th of August, 2021. 1859, on the state petroleum discovered in Titusville, Pennsylvania, was the beginning of the petroleum age, the first well successfully drilled in search of oil. Until the Texas oil boom of 1901, Pennsylvania was responsible for half the world's production of oil, which gave us the motor oil brands Pennzoil and Quaker State. It's the birthday of Ira Levin, author, dramatist, born New York City, 1929. Many of his novels were made into movies: A Kiss Before Dying, The Stepford Wives, The Boys from Brazil, and Rosemary's Baby. Stephen King once called Ira Levin the Swiss watchmaker of suspense novels. The birthday of Theodore Dreiser, born Terre Haute, Indiana, 1871, who gave us the novel Sister Carrie and An American Tragedy. Sister Carrie, he wrote when he was in his 20s, about an 18-year-old country girl from Wisconsin moves to Chicago, live out her dream, uses her youth and beauty to become the mistress of wealthy men, so she's able to live in comfort and lead a sophisticated life. Dreiser wrote when she boarded the afternoon train for Chicago, her total outfit consisted of a small trunk, a cheap imitation alligator skin satchel, a small lunch in a paper box, and a yellow leather snap purse containing her ticket, a scrap of paper with her sister's address in Van Buren Street, and $4 in money. It's the birthday of the philosopher Georg Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel, born in Stuttgart, Germany, 1770, who started out studying Christianity and was interested in how Christianity was based on opposites: sin and salvation, earth and heaven, church and state, finite and infinite, and came up with the concept of the dialectic, the idea that all human progress is driven by the conflict between opposites, that each political movement is imperfect and therefore gives rise to a counter-movement, which is also imperfect and therefore gives rise to yet another counter-movement. And it was on this day in 1930, one of America's most eligible bachelors got married, H.L. Mencken, 49 years old, who had always made fun of romance, who called marriage the end of hope, married his girlfriend of 7 years, Sarah Hart, of Montgomery, Alabama. She was an English professor and a writer. She died of meningitis just 5 years later, and Mencken, grief-stricken, edited a collection of his wife's stories and published it as Southern Album. Here's a poem for today by Edwin Arlington Robinson, Amaryllis. Once when I wandered in the woods alone, an old man tottered up to me and said, "Come, friend, and see the grave that I have made for Amaryllis." There was in the tone of his complaint such quaver and such moan that I took pity on him and obeyed, and long stood looking where his hands had laid an ancient woman, shrunk to skin and bone. Far out beyond the forest, I could hear the calling of loud progress and the bold incessant scream of commerce ringing clear. But though the trumpets of the world were glad, it made me lonely and it made me sad to think that Amaryllis had grown old. A poem by Edwin Arlington Robinson. That's the Writer's Almanac for Friday, August the 27th. Be well, do good work, and keep in touch.